Hello, and welcome to my channel. I don't really have much of an intro. Um, what I really have is basically I just have a question. What the heck is going on? Like, what the heck is going on? I don't even know what to believe anymore. You know? Like, am I the only one who doesn't know what to believe anymore? Like, I see all of these people, and maybe that's the point. Maybe they want you to be, put into these echo chambers where all you see is the one side that or the other side, or they want you to think that we're fighting. Are we fighting? Are we fighting? I'm hearing words, I'm hearing, little here and there, oh, quiet civil war, quiet civil. What the heck is a quiet civil war? What the heck does that even mean? What is a quiet civil? Can somebody please tell me? Like, is that, I mean, I think the whole point of that was like them saying like, oh, well, that's what happens before we get into the loud civil war, whatever the heck that is, is that what happens before, somebody comes and barges through my door? Is that what happens? Is that what happens before we start getting arrested? Like, when does the loud civil war start? If we're in the quiet civil war, let me know when it's getting louder. Okay. And then I might, do something about it. But this is just ridiculous. I honestly, that's my question. That's why I'm like, at this point, like, we really need to sit down and have a dialogue, like a real dialogue. Because my question is, are we fighting? And if we're fighting, what are we fighting about? What exactly is it that we're fighting about? And don't tell me that it's because of ICE, and don't tell me that it's because of illegal immigrants, and don't tell me that it's because of right or left or whatever. I don't want to hear the political talking points that they have told you to be upset about. That's my point. I don't know if, like I said, I'm asking a question. Is it just me, or are there other people out there that are starting to notice, it seems like every single day we're being told that we need to be upset about something. And I think the reality of the situation is that we've been told that so much that, yeah, it's quite possible that now we actually are upset. Now we are actually upset. The point, though, and what I'd really like to stress is that we need to make sure that we're upset at the right people. We need to make sure that we're upset at the right people. Now, I don't want this to be a political channel, okay? Especially because, in my opinion, I don't even think there's a such thing as, I mean, is there even politics, or is it just people that are chosen, who've just been decided for whatever reason from God only knows who? You ever notice like that? It just seems like the people that end up in political power were just kind of chosen. And I don't mean chosen by like the people. Okay. I just mean like they were chosen, and then that's what happened. So, again, this is just my opinion. This is just my opinion. So anyway, before I get too deep into the woods, that was my question. Like, what the heck is going on? Okay. And can we just talk about, I want to start off by saying, number one, this all started to come apart for me, like this whole realization and starting to kind of pay attention more and starting to kind of just be like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Let's figure out why that doesn't make sense, was when Charlie Kirk got assassinated or murdered, however you want to say. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say these words on YouTube. They might take down this video. I don't know. And I don't care at this point. I'll just re-upload another one and say something else, I guess. But that day for me was significant. And I don't say that to say that it was necessarily politically significant. It was spiritually significant. I don't know about anyone else, but that day and like the next few days after that the world, something in the air. It was like the aura around everyone and everything. Like you could cut the air with a knife everywhere. It didn't matter if you were in your house by yourself or if you were out in public. There was just this very weird feeling. Okay? Something was off. And that's really neither here nor there. But some of you are going to know what I'm talking about. Some of you are more in tuned with, God and spirituality and that understanding. So some of you are going to know exactly what I'm talking about, because I know if I felt it, I know you felt it. But that's not what this is about. What this is about is the fact that, like, the narrative that they've come out with, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And I understand that if some of you, like, you didn't like Charlie Kirk, get it, fine. That's not what this is about either. Whether you liked him or disliked him, that's not this video. If you didn't like him, you probably haven't been paying attention. You probably just, oh, Tyler shot him. All right, well, I guess that's what happened. Okay, and then moved on. The reason why it's important that you look into that, I'm going to get into that in a second. So hold that thought. Let's fast forward. Now, what's going on in Minneapolis, right? You would think, oh, unrelated. This has to do with, illegal criminals or whatever they're labeling them as now, whatever. And ICE agents trying to do their job and people ending up shot in the midst of it. Okay? There's a lot to unpack there, and I'm going to do my best. So, what's insane about it is the fact that they've labeled these people as domestic terrorists. And whether you agree with them being a domestic terrorist or not, can we just talk about the fact that it's like all they need is that label, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that justifies it? Can we talk about the fact that there's people who heard that and then moved on with their life? Okay? Now, shout out to Barron, Coleman. I watch him quite a bit. I'm kind of a new watcher, but if you haven't seen any of his stuff, highly recommend you go check him out. I'll try to link his channel below. This is my first video on YouTube, so I'm not really tech savvy in that way. I'll probably figure it out at some point, but I'll try to link it below. If you haven't checked out Barron Coleman, definitely go check out his stuff. He does really good work. But there was I was listening to one of his lives while I was folding laundry one day, and he mentioned that he knows some guy in the military or CIA, or maybe he doesn't know. I don't know. He was talking about some guy in the military or CIA, so don't quote me. I was folding laundry while I was listening to this, so don't quote me on it. But he said that this person was asked if they were told to carry out orders on someone who was labeled as a domestic terrorist, would they carry out those orders? And their response was yes. Yes, they would. They would carry out those orders. No questions asked, just, their answer was essentially, if they were officially labeled as a domestic terrorist, then yes. If it was an official thing. So that leads me to ask, who is the official, or who declares whether or not someone is a domestic terrorist? Is it Kristi Noem? Is it Donald Trump? Who is the one that gets to decide that you're a domestic terrorist? And it's a fair question. Like, I'd at least like to know who's the one that's going to take me out. At least give me the courtesy of showing yourself or making yourself known if I'm going to be gunned down in the streets like an animal. Like, at what point do we start calling it what it is? And I understand that there's people that actually heard the domestic terrorist thing and then was like, oh, well, Alex was this and Renee was that, whatever. And it's like, look, if you're watching this channel and you still believe that there's a right and there's a left, if you still believe that you have a choice, this isn't the channel for you. I'm sorry. This is a as Barron would say, this is a high IQ outfit. Okay, we don't have time for low IQ outfit individuals. Okay, we're wearing high IQ outfits here. All right, I think there's some guy, I think his name's Joe. I could be wrong. But he's got a channel probably. I think maybe he's picking up a channel that they can run some low IQ outfits over there. But this ain't it. So I'm talking to the people that are starting to see things for what they are, because we all have eyes. If you have eyes and you saw that video, if you've seen those videos, tell me with your eyes, with your gut, what you saw. These people are trying to gaslight you. They're trying to gaslight us. I watched that video and I was horrified. And then they get on TV and start saying domestic terrorist and saying, oh, well, he was brandishing a gun and this and that. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. And we all seen it. Okay? So the reason why I'm bringing this up, I'm going to circle back. Remember I said I was going to circle back. I didn't forget about Charlie Kirk. I didn't forget. No, as a matter of fact, I can't forget, because it's been one of the only things, not only things, but it's been something I've been thinking about every day since. Because it's very confusing. There's still no actual evidence or credible information given to us by the FBI that makes sense. Okay? The Fed slap is getting a little unseasoned, if you will. You know, like I'm just, something's a little off here. Did we get a new chef? You know, is Kash Patel, did he, you know, does he like seasoning? Like, what's going on? Something's not right. Right? So, as I was saying, there's going to be people that are just now starting to look into that. Or at least they should be. And I say that to say, if Charlie Kirk's murder can be covered up, what else can be covered up? What else could be covered up? Don't even get me started on the Epstein files. Don't even get me started there. That's another thing. I mean, at what point are we going to start realizing and start asking these questions? Like, I wish I had an answer. I wish I could tell you what is going on. That's why I'm coming out here and I'm asking, what is going on? I could tell you I'm done falling for it. If the media tells me to be upset, I refuse to be. Okay? If they tell me that it's the immigrants' fault that I can't get ahead, I'm done. I'm done feeding into that. I'm not going to let the pedophiles tell me, whatever you want to call them. I don't know if YouTube's going to let me. That's the other thing, too. Like, this censorship. Like, I can't say that someone's a pedophile. It's crazy. It's crazy. But like I said, I'm not going to let the pedophiles tell me who to be mad at. Okay? Thank you very much. And number two, if you're going to tell me to be mad at ICE, guess what? I might be mad at them, but I'm not going to feed into this narrative. Like, they want us to fight with each other. There's a reason for this. Now, I don't know what they're trying to distract us from, or if that's the whole point. Is the point to have we been infiltrated? That's another question I have. Have we been infiltrated by a foreign government? Did you guys know that? Let me tell you. Did you guys know that like 90% or something of our police in America are trained by the IDF? Like, it's just like, and the ICE officers, if you Google it, go ahead, Google it. American ICE trains with the IDF. Now, I'm not saying that Philadelphia, shout out to Coach. It's another good guy. You know what? If you haven't checked out Coach Collin, check out Coach Collin. So I'm not saying that Philadelphia, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Okay? I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not saying that they have anything to do with it. I'm not saying that they've infiltrated. I'm asking a question, not necessarily them, but anybody. Has there been an infiltration? Has it been, could it be China? Could it be, who? Is there a reason why they would want us to be fighting each other? Are they trying to get us to attack each other from the inside? They know that if we're not united, that will be easier to attack. Okay? I don't know. I don't know. Do you know? Does anybody know? So, I'll circle back to my first question. Yeah. What the heck is going on? And let's figure it out together. You know? Let's figure it out together. I'll tell you what I believe and what I don't believe. I believe Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I don't hate anybody. I love all my neighbors. I don't agree with criminals. I don't agree with pedophiles. I do not believe that we actually have a choice when it comes to our politics. I do not believe that Tyler Robinson took out Charlie Kirk. It's not to say that he wasn't involved in some way. I don't believe he's the one that took him out. Until I get more information, that's just not what I believe. And I also don't believe that Renee Good or Alex Pretty were domestic terrorists. Okay? I don't believe it. So, key takeaways here. I want to know more information about Charlie Kirk's murder. I want to know why they paved over the crime scene like the very next day. I want to know why. I have questions. As an American citizen, I have questions. I want to know why that happened. 2, pay attention to the media and what they want you to believe. Ask yourself, whenever they tell you something, ask yourself, who does it benefit? Who benefits from rioting? Who benefits from chaos? Start to ask questions. Okay? For those of you who have already started asking those questions, I know you're going to get it. For everyone else, congratulations. I say congratulations because it takes a lot and it's impressive. Because in order to stop eating the Fed slop and to wake up, it takes self-reflection, it takes accountability, and it takes admitting that you were wrong. Like, wow, I voted for such person, and then I realized that they're a pedophile. Or, wow, I voted for that person, and their auto pen was actually writing everything. Like, it takes the ability to look at yourself, look at the information, and admit that you were wrong. And that's okay. You should be able to do that. That is a quality that is severely lacking in this country. Okay? It is severely lacking. You should be, actually, I encourage you to change your mind upon being given new information. If, let's say, for example, the Trump thing. If you are still on the MAGA train, after everything we've seen, after all of this, I'm sorry to say, but I have lost hope for you. If you still think that this is a right or left problem, I can't take you serious. This is so much deeper. This is so much more, and this is so much worse. There is no such thing as right or left. What we have now is the reasonable versus the unreasonable. That's it, and that's all. And it doesn't even relate to a political party. There is no such thing. It's like Santa Claus. Poof, magic. Guess what? Didn't exist. Never. Maybe it did at some point. I don't know. What I can tell you now is that it at least doesn't today. Okay? So if you still think that you have a choice and that there's right versus left and that it's the left's fault or it's the right fault, you haven't been paying attention. So, thank you for watching, and I hope we can start asking more questions, and I look forward to asking more questions soon. Bye.